Yes, you're live.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Janine Cummings. I'm so happy to be here with you. Oh, it's been quite the Sunday morning. I'm so glad you guys are all here. Let's lift our heart in praise. Early in the morning, when I rise, I lift my hands in praise because I'm alive. And late at night, when I lay down, I lift my heart in praise for the love I found. And I sing, ooh, for the love I found. Let's do it again. Early in the morning, when I rise, I lift my hands in praise because I'm alive. And late at night, when I lay down, I lift my heart in praise for the love I found. And I sing, for the love I found, for the love I found, for the love I found.
Thank you, Janine. Good morning, everybody. Greg Saltis here, welcoming each and every one of you to Unity of Olympia's live streaming service. Today, we have a real treat. We have a guest speaker, James Tierney, our ministerial intern. Looking forward to his talk today. Friends, no matter where you are, you know that as we have our streaming service, we all come together in prayer. What a great thing. Wish we could be there live, but here we are. Unity of Olympia's welcoming community committed to a vision of a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of spiritual awakening. We are here to celebrate, meditate, learn, serve, and affirm the divine in all.
Thank you, Greg. And I will light the Christ candle. I'm James Tierney, and let's have an opening prayer. So let's allow ourselves to inhale and exhale. Just pausing in this moment, and in this pause, we become aware of that which is surrounding and interpenetrating us. We are so grateful to connect with Spirit and with each other as we see that love within us expanding and enfolding ourselves, our community, our church, our city, and our country, and the world. We see healthy humanity and compassion in our lives and in the world, and we are grateful. Our time together deepens, heals, and rejuvenates us. And we affirm this in the name and through the nature and the power of the indwelling Christ. It is now so. Amen.
Thank you, James. Well, if you weren't with us last week, I want to let you know that our fellowship time following the service is going to have a new look. The change will be that there will be a theme or a point of focus so that we may have discussions during our fellowship time. And this week it ties right into James' talk. It is what works best to keep me from burnout. Wow, I want to talk about that. Some kind of movement, connection, creative venture, or something unique. So please feel free to join us. We have gotten some feedback that people have had difficulty tuning in. So we are now working on making it more easily available to each of you. And in fact, you will see the link appearing on your screen as I'm speaking so that you can also join us for the fellowship hour after the service today. As always, it also appears in the blast that went out yesterday. I would really like to extend a special invitation to those of you who might be new to Unity of Olympia. Having been a new member 30 some years ago, I remember that could be somewhat awkward or a little bit strange to come into a new community. And so we would really like to extend an invitation to you to join us during the fellowship hour so that we may have the opportunity to get to know you and you can get to know us as well. So today, reading the Daily Word, we have Reverend Terry.
Hey, friends. Today's daily word is kindness. The affirmation, I flow with divine love as I give and receive kindness. The word kindness triggers feelings of warmth, connection, and love in my heart. I smile as I recall ways that friends, family, and others have shown me kindness. I feel again the gratitude and blessing I experienced in those moments. Gratitude, love, and a beautiful awareness of connection fill my heart and mind in a remarkably similar way when I remember kindness I've shared. The movement of electrons through a wire creates a current, a flow. As kindness moves from person to person, it creates a flow of divine love. Both giving and receiving are essential to this current of love. So I look for opportunities to share acts of kindness. I welcome with a grateful heart the kindness others share with me. From Micah chapter 6, verse 8. What does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness humbly with your God? The word is kindness, and the affirmation today I invite you to affirm with me. It's on your screen. I flow with divine love as I give and receive kindness.
This is the time in our service where we can affirm our statement of faith. And I invite you to join me so we can say it together. There is only one. Together, please. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God the good, all power, presence, and wisdom. It is in God that we live, move, and have our being. And we know this is so.
All right, let's show the world just who we are. I can show the world just who I am, who I am, who I am. I can show the world just who I am and feel safe and feel free. And feel safe and feel free. Feel safe and feel free. And feel safe and feel free. Feel safe and feel free. You can show the world just who you are, who you are, who you are. You can show the world just who you are and feel safe and feel free. And feel safe and feel free. Feel safe and feel free. And feel safe and feel free. Feel safe and feel free. And we can show the world just who we are, who we are, who we are. We can show the world just who we are and feel safe and feel free. Sing this with me. And feel safe and feel free. Feel safe and feel free. And feel safe and feel free. Feel safe and feel free. And feel safe and feel free. Feel safe and feel free. And feel safe and feel free. Feel safe and feel free.
Thank you, Janine. So today I'm once again, James Tierney. I'm in my final year of Unity Seminary, and we're going to talk today about Babylonian Captivity. The title of the talk is called Beyond Babylonian Burnout, Moving, Connecting, and Creating. And in 580 BCE, so that was almost 2,600 years ago, the kingdom of Babylon conquered Jerusalem. And they took a lot of the people in Jerusalem and made them walk to Babylon. They called it the Babylonian Captivity because they were removed from Jerusalem and brought to a new city where they were strangers. And Daniel was one of them. Daniel, at the time of the fall of Jerusalem, was a teenager, and his whole world was cast away. I mean, he had been upper class. He had had wonderful friends. He lived in a beautiful house, all gone, and they were moving to a strange city. So this is reminiscent to me of our pandemic life. In the pandemic, we are removed from a lot of our normal activities and put in a strange new world. And we've been adapting to the world, but it's still sort of a Babylonian captivity. What Daniel did while he was going was he thought, oh, this is something I can learn from. And he made friends with the guards, and he learned Aramaic from them because they spoke Hebrew in Jerusalem and the Babylonians spoke Aramaic. And he got the guards to give him Aramaic lessons, and then he taught his other friends from Jerusalem Aramaic. And then they were all speaking Aramaic and practicing Aramaic, which was good because to get from Jerusalem to Babylon is 850 miles. This is months of walking every day through the desert, over rivers. They headed to Babylon. But they were moving. So instead of trudging, he was enjoying the scenery. He's like, hey, I've never been here. I've barely been outside the city walls. And now we're going here and I'm learning Aramaic. And this is exciting. So metaphysically, Babylon represents the material world and Jerusalem is the spiritual world. And what Daniel did was he found a way to make them not a dichotomy, to bring the spiritual world into the Babylonian captivity by keeping spirit in him, by keeping faithful to the oneness, to the love, to the connection that he always had. So a lot of people are sometimes experiencing stress and sometimes even burnout because of the, our own Babylonian captivity, because of the pandemic and being isolated so much. And there's a book called Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. And it was written by two college professors, two researchers and professors, Amelia and Emily Nagoski. And Amelia's a music professor who was hospitalized for stress. And when this happened, her sister did lots of research into stress and how to combat it. And so I'm going to combine their recommendations and show you how Daniel, even though he hadn't seen the research, followed the recommendations. And we can see if this is applicable to us. Can we follow these recommendations? And turn, instead of having PTSD, you've heard of post-traumatic stress disorder. And there's also post-traumatic growth. And we would like this to be post-traumatic growth. We would like to enjoy as much as we can our time in the Babylonian captivity, our pandemic time, while we're going through it. So movement's the first thing they recommended. And so they enjoy dancing in the living room and going on walks. I take this to heart. I go running almost every day, first thing in the morning. And Daniel went on an 850-mile walk. So he really enjoyed the movement of the walk. And I think that helped him with the stress, was being able to channel that energy into movement and sightseeing. Their second secret is connection. They recommend connecting with other people. And one thing they recommend that I started doing once I heard of it that I recommend, if you can, is a 20-second hug. Not just like a quick hug, but a hug where you sort of sink into each other. And this is really good with my 2-year-old grandson. He likes to go for a minute or more. My partner also enjoys 20-second hugs. If you can't do, if you're not in a situation where you can do long hugs, the other things that give this connection, laughter, unforced belly laughs, pets, you can get the connection with pets, and lots of people do this. Or spirit, people get oneness by meditating, by praying, by connecting, with that which we are. So Daniel got his connection through devoted service to people, and you can see he was connecting with the guards and connecting with people in Jerusalem as he was walking to Babylon. He also prayed 3 times a day and learned Aramaic. So part of honoring his religion was following the dietary laws, and so he kept kosher. He followed those laws. So he couldn't eat everything that the Babylonians ate, but it was part of his spiritual practice. When he got to Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar took him and other promising youths and put them in the government school. And so they got to live in the palace and take classes on how to run the government of an empire. And this was because Nebuchadnezzar was interested in having a diverse workforce, because he wanted to have an empire with freedom of religion and lots of people who were treated well. And he wanted new creative ideas. And so Daniel really thrived in this environment. He loved learning. His friends loved learning. And in the end, he was promoted to be governor of governors. And so all these people were governors, and he was so creative and connecting. He got to be the second in charge of the empire on top of all the other governors. Sort of reminiscent of Joseph from Exodus. One of the things that happened when they were living in the palace, the king offered, they called it the king's dainties. It was like the finest food, but a lot of this food wasn't prepared according to Jewish dietary laws. And so Daniel would get served it, but he couldn't really eat all of it. But he found something helpful to do with that food. So, but let's jump into the third secret of burnout. It's creativity and making meaning. To be creative, you have to give up control. You don't know at first what you're going to create. You need to be open to something bigger than yourself, another idea. And this is helpful with stress. Carrie Fisher, of Star Wars and other fame, said, take your broken heart and make it into art. You can take the stress and channel it into creative ventures, into something bigger than ourselves. So Daniel was working to rejigger Babylonian government to be more efficient and to be more fair to all the people who were under the dominion of the empire. And they were learning how to be religious. He and all the people from Jerusalem were learning how to honor their religion in a multi-faith society. Me at home, I make fabric art. No, sorry, my partner makes fabric art, and she paints. In fact, all over Renton, you'll find fire hydrants are popping up with artistic paintings on them, which is a program by the city. It's really fun to see people expressing their creativity in terms of beautiful fire hydrant art, and then populating them around the city so everybody can enjoy it. I come up with stories and classes, especially stories for my grandson. He's 2.5, and so he's not bored with me. He loves hearing all these wild stories I can come up with. So what I want to talk to now is Daniel and the Lion's Den. This is what Daniel's most famous for. And when he was second in charge of the empire, he had jealous rivals who wanted to take him down. And what they did was they created a situation, they engineered a situation where he had to choose between faithfulness to spirit and obeying the laws. And this is something that happens to us, sort of metaphysically. The laws of Babylon are the material world laws, and we do honor the material world laws, and we follow them as best we can, but we can do it without giving up spirit. And what Daniel did was he said, I cannot deny God, and so he is forced into the lion's den, and he has to stay in the lion's den overnight. So have you ever wondered, when you heard the story of the lion's den, where did the lions come from? Well, what they know is in the Middle East, for thousands of years, it's been a tradition to keep lions in the palace. Haile Selassie was the last emperor of Ethiopia, and he ruled from 1930 until 1974. And he had lions in his palace. The lions were a final line of defense in case there were any attacks. And they were also pets. They hung around the palace. And so my theory is that Daniel, when he wasn't eating the king's dainties, he'd feed them to the lions, and he'd play with the lions. He became especially popular with the lions because he was the one who had all this pork and non-kosher food to give them. And so Daniel was connecting with the lions. It's like the pets. He was helping relieve his stress by doing that. He was probably playing with them. Lions are really big, and so there's lots of movement involved. And it's certainly being creative. What do you do? Nobody grew up with lions in their house, except if you grew up in a Middle Eastern palace. But he took that and he figured out how to become friends with these very dangerous animals. So when he was sent into the lion's den, I think the reason he came out was because some of those lions were his friends. And he spotted the ones who were his friends, and he went and hung out with them. And he's like, let's stay with you all night. And these lions knew he was not food, he was their friend. And so any strange lions who were there, they could keep away, and he'd be safe. I'm sure he didn't sleep at all that night. He wanted to stay safe and not look like food. But he did. It was his spiritual practices and following movement, creativity, and connection that brought him the resources to survive the lion's den, and then he came out, and survived. And so this is he was following this process. We can all follow this process. When we feel stress, when we feel like burnout is happening, we can deal with stress. We can use movement. We can walk every day. We can do Tai Chi or yoga or run or dance. Put on music and dance for half an hour. We can connect with each other. A 20-second hug, maybe a Zoom dinner with your distant relatives. Pets are good sources of affection, or you can do a gratitude letter. A couple of weeks ago, Reverend Terry talked about writing a letter of gratitude to somebody from your life, and this will activate the feelings of connection, of gratitude within you. And so this is another way to channel the stress energy into a positive force in our world. And then be a part of something bigger than yourself. Take your broken heart, make it into art. Painting hydrants, fabric, telling stories, taking photos, whatever kind of creative venture or whatever kind of way you can engage in something bigger than yourself. This is going to help channel the stress energy into something positive for the world and for ourselves. So that's my lesson today. We get post-traumatic growth. You can beat Babylon burnout by moving, connecting, and creating. And I invite you to come to the Zoom session after service where we would love to hear what your methods are of dealing with all the stress of the burnout. I'm sure you have unique ways, and that we can all benefit from hearing, from sharing our ways, and plus we get the connection of being with each other. So thank you.
Split the screen longer. Okay, there you are.
Thank you, James. Let's place a hand on our heart. Let's remind ourselves of our oneness. We are one. We are one. We are one. And we accept each other. Hallelujah. We are one. We are one. We are one. And we accept each other. Hallelujah. We are one. We are one. We are one. And we accept each other. Let's do it nice and quiet. We are one. We are one. We are one. And we accept each other. We accept each other. We accept each other.
Thank you, Janine. So let's just all of us inhale and exhale, becoming aware of our breath. We can breathe deeply into our abdomen and let it naturally relax and release. And again, deeply into our abdomen as we relax and release. And continuing to follow our breath, we know that we flow with divine love as we give and receive kindness. Our daily word from today. And again, I flow with divine love as I give and receive kindness. So let's inhale love and exhale kindness. Inhale kindness, exhale gratitude. We open to love. We open to kindness. We open to each other. Deep in our soul, we know we are love. We know we are kind. We know we are one. And we allow ourselves to rest in that oneness, in that love. in that kindness. We know we are one now and forever. We have always been that. Kindness, connected, one. Infinitely loving. And from that center of love, of oneness, we feel the love. We feel the compassion. We feel the kindness. We feel that love expanding to fill our bodies. We feel it filling our rooms, our houses. We feel it bursting forth to fill our city, our state, our world. And we rest in that feeling of love all around, surrounding and interpenetrating us, enfolding us, fulfilling us, connecting us, rejuvenating us, energizing us, relaxing us. And from the center of love comes the sure knowledge and wisdom that profound good is manifesting everywhere. You can feel justice, truth, life, health. And returning our attention to our body, we notice our breath. Once again, gentle, rhythmic, healing, nurturing. And as we bring our attention to our body, we can still feel the oneness, the connection, the love. And we know that whatever happens today, this week, this month, this year, we can always bring back our awareness to this eternal connection by letting the breath take us there. A deep inhalation brings us to the awareness of our loving soul. This is our nature. Thank you.
You can go.
No.
Yep.
We are one. We are one. We are one. And we accept each other. Hallelujah. We are one. We are one. We are one. And we accept each other. Hallelujah. We and we accept each other. We accept each other. We accept each other. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Janine and James. Today's entire worship team would like to send out greetings to each and every one of you, and a special shout out to the worship team members who did not appear on the screen today. Deb Walter is our producer, and Paul Swanda is our audio tech, and without them, we could not be doing this. We trust that during this time, until we can come together and be with each other, that these services are feeding your soul, and we're really pleased that you have chosen to join us, because we know that together we can continue to hold the high watch for the good of our church, our planet, and everyone on it. So don't forget to tune into the Youth Ed videos. They will encourage connection, mindfulness, and self-realization. You can get inspiration from them by going to the unityofolympia.org website, or you can contact Lisa at youth@unityofolympia.org. Well, I hope that every single one of you will join us next week, November 22nd, 1 week from today, because it is Pie on the Fly Day. Now, this will be another one of those events where you get to come to the church following the streaming service, once again using the drive-through technique that we did before, and you will receive a slice of pie. You can then enjoy each other's company by being masked and socially distanced and being in the parking lot to eat your pie, or you can eat it in your car, whatever you want to do. Join us for Pie on the Fly. But there are a lot of other things happening on that day as well. We would ask that you bring a donation to the food bank. Also, there will be tags for the gift giving tree so that you may take a tag and purchase a gift for our friends in the neighborhood. Last of all, there will be, and just want to remind you, this is a conscious opportunity for some conscious contribution, because this will be a fun and fundraiser event for the church. But last but not least, we want you to be able to pick up your package so that you can participate in all of the upcoming events. Now, what might those be? In the envelope, there will be a candle for our candlelight service. There will be a stone for our white stone ceremony. There will be a slip of paper, that all kinds of things for all of our holiday services, so that you are, for the burning bowl, by the way, so that you are prepared for all of the events which you can do at home. So that will be a part of the Pie on the Fly program next week. Please plan on joining us. The worship team will be there. We will be masked. We will be gloved. We will be handing out pie, and we will also be happy to see you at the church. Plan on being there. So as we now consider our conscious contributions, you know, of course, that the ongoing work of our church requires funding. And so far, the community has been very, very generous, and we appreciate that. And we would like to encourage you to continue with your donations, which you can either do at unityofolympia.org, or you can text it in to 360-234-2669. And we know that many of you are already electronic contributors, and that you mail checks in. And for all of these gifts, we are grateful. Thank you so much. So now, regardless of how it is that you donate, you give your conscious contribution to the church, let us take that into our thoughts and bless it with divine love. Please join me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Open to the sacred richness of our infinite source, we as Unity of Olympia joyfully co-create unlimited prosperity right now. Thank you, God.
Well, I think this is the perfect time to lead our country home. Let's all sing this together. May the light of justice, truth, and grace lead our country home to freedom, freedom, freedom for us all. May the light of justice, truth, and grace lead our country home. May lead our world home. And we'll rise up until freedom has been won. May the light of justice, truth, and grace lead our country home. May lead our world home. May lead our world home.
Hey, friends, thanks for joining us on this beautiful Sunday morning. I also want to extend another invitation for the 22nd, next Sunday afternoon. Janine and I will be acting as the live musician and the master of ceremonies for the annual Interfaith Thanksgiving at 2:00. It's an online event, so you can go to Interfaith Works to get more information about that. And we would love to know that some of our community is watching and is supporting and enjoying what Interfaith Works as a whole is providing. So thank you to our Reverend-elect James Tierney for providing today's lesson and lovely meditation. Let's close with prayer. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So it is.